Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Rick.
This is Dad.
And this is LMC Talk. We're talking about love, marriage, and of course everything can be discussed over a great cup of coffee. Let's go. Let's get it popping, people. This is 2023. New year, new things.
Wally for new things.
Wally for new things. Listen, as you can see, we got a little bit of a new set going on, you know what I mean? If this is your first time actually logging into us or watching us, just go ahead, like, subscribe. Just go ahead and smack that notification button.
Smack it?
Smack.
You smacking now? We smacking 2023?
We smacking hard.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Get it right now. Right. We get it tight.
Not mad.
Okay. See, just you're gonna learn. Feel free to roam around, check out all the videos that we did for 2022. 2023 is gonna be exciting. It's gonna be new stuff, guys. Stay tuned.
Ooh,
it's gonna be amazing.
So much. Yes.
All right, so generally what we do first is talk about the tidbit of the day. If this is your first time watching us, we do the tidbit of the day first, and I'm gonna have my wife take care of that. Just basically know that we've been together for forever, about 17 years now, right? That marriage, and then just about, but we've
anniversary's next month. Actually.
Anniversary's next month.
Yeah.
That's in February.
Yes.
Okay. So guys, listen.
You remember the date?
You know, moving on to now we're gonna talk about more things. No, I'm just kidding. It's 25th.
Okay.
February 25th. I don't want to die today. Just go check out all the videos. You can see we've been together for a long time, and we just give advice to married couples or people in love, and also we do segments on coffee and stuff of that nature as well. So,
and not just giving advice. We just want you to feel inspired and be inspired and be encouraged, because marriage is not easy, right?
Marriage is not easy.
So we're here to be your cheerleaders as well.
There you go. All right, so first thing we're going to do, the first tidbit of 2023.
We're not doing the tidbit yet.
We're not doing the tidbit? What are we doing?
No. So, in honor of mental health, we're going to do mental health checkups for 2023, right? So as we do our own mental health checkups, we are going to encourage you to do the same. So we're going to add in a little segment called Pit and Peaks, right?
Pit and Peaks.
So that is what was, well, let's rearrange it. Peak and pits. I'd rather do the peaks first. So what was, the highlight of your week? And then I don't want to say your low light, but something you'd like to do better next week. And that will encourage you to do better the following week. So I'm going to ask you first.
Well, my pit and peak basically was just this, the Christmas time. We had a good time. We went somewhere and everything else. But during that time frame, I did a lot of work. Extremely. I was doing like 14 hours per day kind of work. Ooh. But once I got out there, I think that was kind of my pit where I was tired. I was really tired. But the peak of that is that, I made a lot of advances or advancements because of that as well. So, so it's just kind of, I would say, balanced itself out for me. So I feel pretty good. So that I feel good now.
Okay. That's a good.
Got a lot accomplished.
All right. So
what about yours?
My peak was, that's tough. I didn't have a busy a week as you did. My peak was I got to relax, y'all. Like, we take that for granted because we like to, while you did all the work, because we like to get caught up in this I'm booked and busy era, but I was not booked and busy. I was relaxing. I was living soft. It was good. And that was a peak where I got to do me, and whatever me meant, I got to do. But of course, I had to cater to hubby while he works from home, so I made sure he was okay.
Is that your pit that you were taking care of me?
No, that's still a peak because I only had to take care of you for a little bit, so that's still a part of my peak. My pit is that I have so much things I want to accomplish this year, and my brain is going so fast. It's like I can't keep up. Yeah. And I think I need to try to slow it down a little bit and realize that everything is not going to happen overnight. And that's hard for me, y'all. So that would be my pit.
All right, got it. All right, so that's what's up. So, all right, so the 2023 first tidbit of the year, let's do it. We're going to do tidbit of the year. What's the tidbit for today? What we're gonna talk about? And listen, just so you guys know, I don't really know what we're gonna talk about. Okay, she just throws me out there on the spot. You know, we just gotta do our thing. So we don't really practice this kind of stuff because nothing comes authentically, organically. Yeah, if you practice it like that. So we just gotta do our thing. So let's do it.
All right. So we're gonna be talking about imposter syndrome, right? So
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome, also known as imposter phenomenon or imposterism, is a psychological occurrence in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud.
That's good. That's a good topic.
It's a deep topic. It's like, it's so much things going on in my head.
So now we're going to try to relate this to marriages and love and everything else. So right off the bat, what my mind went to when I heard about that is...
Because I have a topic, so...
what's the topic? I'm sorry.
Well, the topic is, do you have imposter syndrome? And is it negatively affecting your relationship?
Okay. Imposter syndrome. So basically you're saying like when the imposter syndrome in the relationship really is going to be like, what if you feel as though you're pretending that you're happy with your marriage or that you're happy with your situation? It doesn't have to be marriage.
Not necessarily, because right here it says what is imposter syndrome in a relationship? It occurs when one partner believes they're not good enough for the other. It is a type of insecurity that leads a person to believe that their partner will leave them when the partner realizes that they're not that great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, me personally, I don't feel that way, but I gotta say this, that there are points like, sometimes in the relationship where I did feel inadequate as just a mate in general, because I felt as though I wasn't living up to the potential that I was supposed to be living up to
as a husband or as a
husband.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Not as a person necessarily, because person-wise, I think it's a little bit different. Because once you put that ring on and you assume the responsibility as a guy, I think you have to kind of lead the household in the direction that you think is the right one. So that falls on the shoulders a lot of the guys, and I think we know that even internally we kind of feel that we need to protect and we need to lead in that regard. So if that's not happening, if you don't have enough resources as a guy, and again I'm just talking as a guy,
right.
If you don't have enough resources as a guy, just financially stable, where you feel like the bottom is about to fall out at any time, or you feel as though anything that your wife or your kids or whoever needs, that you cannot supply that right away, then that can make you feel inadequate. And then sometimes, when you're all alone, you think about things like, hey, I don't know if I'm cut out for this because I'm not doing well. And I think this was where the whole imposter syndrome can kind of come about. You agree with that?
No, I totally agree with that. I'm just still reading a few things here, and we can go over a lot of the things that we have here, and then we can discuss a little bit more.
Okay.
All right. So it says here, give me 1 second. In relationships, imposter syndrome symptoms are as follows: feeling as if you cannot keep your partner happy, believing that you must be perfect or your partner will leave you, fear that you're not good enough and your partner will eventually leave. All right. In some cases, imposter syndrome anxiety can lead a person to sabotage a relationship and end things because they feel it's better to end it before their significant other finds out they're a fraud.
Oh, wow.
At the very least, having relationship imposter syndrome can lead to a lot of anxiety and make it challenging to experience close relationships. So it's feelings of inadequacy, constant comparison to other people, anxiety, self-doubt, distrust in one's own intuition and capabilities, negative self-talk, dwelling on the past, feeling as if you cannot keep your partner happy, feelings of insecurity. And this can be a turnoff for your partner and lead to a relationship breakdown if you have imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome can also make you settle for an abusive or a one-sided relationship.
Wow.
You will remain in a relationship where their needs are not met because they feel that they do not deserve any better. So it can affect you in a lot of ways. So like, I will break it down personally. Like, imposter syndrome for me is feeling like I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to be what God has called me to be. I'm not good enough for that thing that you know that you can do, but stepping out to do it, you feel like you don't deserve to be doing it. You feel like people are not going to believe that you are capable of doing it, and then you feel like a fraud. And then once you start feeling that internally, then it starts to spread over into your relationship. And sometimes what can also happen is that I can impose my insecurity of my imposter syndrome onto my husband. So if I feel insecure about certain things, then what I will do is, like, if he feels like he's big and he's great and he can do all these things, I'll be like, don't do it. I don't think you'll be able to do that. Nobody will believe it. But that's my insecurity that I'm imposing on him because I don't believe in myself, and I believe I'm an imposter. And feeling like you're an imposter doesn't mean that you are, and it doesn't mean that you can. It's that internal thing that's making you feel like you can't. So for 2023, the reason why I wanted us to start with this topic is for us to break out of that syndrome that we can't, this imposter syndrome that we're not good enough. And if people don't support us, that means they're right, we're not good enough. And if they don't clap for us enough, we're not good enough, and maybe they're right. And we can't blame that on other people because, you know what, it's already internally inside of us. So now we're saying, okay, yeah, maybe they're right, because see, they're not clapping for us. So we have to encourage each other, you know, as partners, to believe in each other. So that imposter syndrome, if I keep rooting for you and you keep going, then that imposter syndrome will wear off eventually, and we'll start believing in each other. Even starting Love Marriage Coffee, we had this thing that we used to say, well, we didn't go to school for this, you know. We're not psychiatrists. We're not psychologists. Can we talk to people about love, you know? But, you know, and that's the imposter syndrome kicking in. And here's why I say that, because I've had a lot of couples that have asked me and my husband, like, how do you guys stay happy? How do you guys, you know, keep the flame going? How do you guys do this? How do you guys do that? The thing about all of that is we did the work. So we're not imposters. And that's something that we had to internally tell ourselves, that we did the work. We did 23 years worth of work, 16 years married, but we did 23 years worth of work. So we can talk about this. You know why? Because we have experienced the peaks and the pits, and we made it through all of them thus far to get to this point. Yeah. So we can tell you that what the hard times are, what the rough times look like. We can tell you what the high times look like, and we can tell you how to maneuver through those times. So that's why I've come to this point that we are no longer imposters, not feeling that imposter syndrome. And I think that you should dig deeper into that, because a lot of people have imposter syndrome.
Yeah, that's true. Man, you said a lot of good things.
Mouthful, ain't it?
Yeah, one of the things too is that, just like you were saying, it has a lot to do also with you being who you are, or you coming into a relationship being insecure can be a strain. Because of that as well, if you feel like an imposter even going into a relationship, this is something that you're gonna have to work on your own with yourself before you get into a relationship, because you can easily bring that kind of baggage to the relationship as well. So
and it could hold you back.
It could hold you back a lot.
A lot.
Yeah.
So you could be missing out on a lot.
A lot. So whatever I'm doing on my side, for instance, if you brought it in whatever I'm doing on my side, to feed you with the positivity that you can do it, you know, babe, we can do this together, whatever the case may be. At some point you probably say, yeah, but in the back of your mind, you're like, this is never gonna work.
It's never gonna work.
Then you're basically sabotaging us before we even start.
That's true.
In the back of your mind, you're sabotaging us, and you do self-sabotage as well, and you don't realize that you're even doing it.
Yeah.
You're like things are going so well. You probably think that in your mind, things are going so well. You know, is something gonna go wrong? Is the person secretly cheating on me? Are they doing things behind my back? maybe they're saying that I'm ugly behind their back. Maybe I'm saying, you start thinking all of these things, and this can really ruin things, man, before things even get started. So you need a positive light of one person or two people.
Yeah, and even if it's not both, right? So even if it's not, even if it's one person, right? Then it can bleed over into the next person of like.
It can.
So let me ask you. So, what are some of the things that you think that you had for as like imposter syndrome as for yourself, not even for your marriage, like for yourself that could possibly bleed over into a marriage, or could have bled over into a marriage, or did bleed over into a marriage?
One of the things I think that with me before I even got into the marriage, I was pretty shy. I was kind of like I was an introvert, right? And everything that I did was so much by myself, and I felt really comfortable with that. You know what I mean? But I knew your personality was completely different. So when I came in, I was like, what if she's gonna think I'm boring after a while? You know what I mean? What if after a while she's gonna be like, well, I'm the life for the party person, and he's the guy that sits in the corner. Are we gonna mesh, or after a while, don't I want him to turn up? Don't I want him to do things? And sometimes I play that back in my mind too, saying, hey, what if after a while she's like, okay, I'm bored now because this guy, he's not entertaining me. We've gone through a few years and it seems like things are getting boring, and you know what I mean? So that's something even coming into the relationship. I'm like, am I gonna be too slow paced for what she's expecting in her mind? You know what I mean? But ultimately, I thought that was a balance. Eventually came
because
that's
what I was just about to say. But you see, what you don't know, that's what I probably needed.
Yeah,
so what you think,
thinking
what you think is,
and I needed to speed up a little bit,
and you need to speed up a little bit. So then we needed that balance of that. So sometimes in anything that you're doing, you're thinking, oh, maybe this is gonna not work out the way I want it to, because maybe I'm too slow paced, maybe I'm too this, but maybe that's just what that person needs in a relationship.
That's true.
And don't sell yourself short, because I think sometimes we think other people, they are our worst critics, but we are, to me, our biggest critics. Like,
that's true.
We sell ourselves short in so many ways. There's so much times that you have to tell me, baby, you're so good at this. And I'm like, and I'm saying like, baby, you're so good, you're so good, you're so good. Because we sell ourselves short. Why do we sell ourselves so short in believing in ourselves, but we want someone else to believe in us, but we don't believe in us? How does that make sense? So you want somebody else to see in you what you don't see in yourself?
That's crazy, right? That's crazy. And even the part where you're talking about this celebratory part of it, where we're celebrating each other all the time. This is something that while you're growing in love, you need to do all the time. It doesn't matter if you've been together a year or 20 years. 20 years down the line is not the same person that you got married to 20 years ago.
You can attest to that.
They need different types of validation throughout the year.
And then we just have this conversation.
We had this conversation. So this is very important too, for you to keep on validating that person. Not to say that that person should need the validation, but you should just, I would say, reinforce.
That's a good word.
Yeah, what the groundwork that you've done over the years. Keep on reinforcing it.
It's true.
Okay.
So
what's the moral of the story then?
The moral of the story for imposter syndrome is, to me, I may have a few things I may want to look at here, but coming from me, imposter syndrome, it's knock it off. Let's knock it off for 2023. Let's believe
stop it, man.
Yeah, let's believe in ourselves for 2023. Let's believe that we can do all the things that God has put inside of us to do. Let's not listen to that inner voice that's saying we can't, we cannot. This year is only we can. This year, we're only gonna listen to light and positivity and negativity. Yeah. That's the only thing we're accepting. Like yes, I'm not an imposter. God did not make me to be an imposter, and I'm not gonna put something on myself that God didn't make me to be. Deep down inside what God has called you to be. And if it's not perfect, that doesn't mean you're imposter. Because sometimes if you try to do something and it doesn't work in perfection, I'm an imposter. Because if I wasn't, it would have been perfect.
That would have
That's
worked.
not
Yeah,
true.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Everybody's a work in progress.
Everybody and everything that you're doing is a work in progress. Love Marriage Coffee is a work in progress. So you have to accept that. If something goes wrong, or there's a deal that fell through, or something that was supposed to happen, you're going to automatically think it's because I'm an imposter that happened. That's not true. We have to push past those feelings and know that we're not imposters.
Yeah.
And we're not accepting anything less than winning this year. We're not imposters. We're not taking on that cloak of imposter syndrome this year. That's a lie. Yeah. I know who God has called me to be as an individual. I know who God has called me to be with me and my husband. And we're stepping out in that faith. And that's what we want you all to do. Whatever God has called you to do in your marriage, step out. Don't let anybody tell you anything about your marriage. Don't let anybody tell you what you can do, what you cannot do, what God has called you to do for your marriage. Everybody's marriage is different. Sure. I'm not going to look at yours and then argue with my husband about what he should be doing because this is why, no. Focus on yours and what God has called you to do for you and your house. And we are like breaking away and cutting away from that imposter syndrome.
Love it, love it, love it. I second that. What she said. And when you walk in that room, make sure you own that room, man. Don't be thinking that people are thinking, oh, this person
don't belong here.
I don't belong here. Why am I even in this room with these people? Everything that you're capable of doing is inside of you. You just gotta believe it.
You gotta believe it.
You just gotta believe it. And if people see you start believing, it's gonna be a whole nother level.
It becomes infectious. They start believing too.
They start believing when you.
And if they don't, so what?
What happens when you walk in the room and you feel somebody that has all this confidence, and you're wondering where did he get this confidence from? The person probably don't even have as much education as you,
right?
And you or have
where I got that confidence?
As much money as you.
Where I got that confidence?
Right.
God did.
It breaks my heart.
Guess that's it for this week. She just DJ Khaled me.
They ain't believing us.
So,
you hear what I'm saying?
I think I'm done.
They ain't believing us. But God did.
God did.
Right? Ain't that true?
With that said, we out.
Don't it? God did though.
God did. He did though.
He did.
But I'm telling you, man, I love it. I think that's the way we should just live our life. We only have one of these.
One.
Just got one. All right. When it's over, it's over. All right. So whatever you plan on doing, whatever you've been planning for weeks or months or years of doing, there's no better time to do it than right now.
Oh, and by the way, we did do our vision board, y'all. So if y'all didn't do a vision board,
oh yeah,
go ahead, babe. Tell them about it.
Check out our Instagram and stuff. You'll see some little things about our vision board and everything.
We did a vision board, and that's another thing. Like, that will help break away that imposter syndrome. Write your visions and make it plain. The Bible said the Bible said that.
Yeah, sure.
Right? So we wrote our visions down, and our dreams are huge, but we are believing in them because we're not imposters. So make your vision board. Do it with your family. Do it with your husband and your wife.
That's
if you have kids, do it together.
Yeah,
and
do it with the kids, yeah.
do it together, and then pray over those visions, because that's what we did. We prayed over our vision boards because we are believing in 2023 that we coming for it. We coming.
Come on now.
We coming.
Come on now.
All right.
All right now.
All right.
All right now.
Cause yeah.
God did.
And what?
Okay. So that's it for this week's episode, guys. I want to say thank you so much for joining us. Again, my name is Rick.
This is Deb.
And of course, this is LMC Talk. We're talking about love, marriage, and of course, everything can be discussed with a great cup of coffee. Whatever you can take from this, just take and just run with it. I hope we're some kind of blessing to somebody today for them to hear what we're saying and really hear our hearts between everything that we're doing. So we thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't, go ahead and like, subscribe, and smash that notification button.
Run it up.
And just see when the next video is coming out, okay? Peace, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
It breaks my heart.